I'm doing okay. I'm not buying cigarettes. I would sometimes get on a follow-up phone call to a smoking clinic. I would get somebody responding with that particular comment that they're doing okay because they're not buying cigarettes. Now, I know when I hear this that I have a relapsed smoker on the phone. They may believe they're doing fine, but in truth and in reality, these are people who are probably smoking a lot more than they're admitting to me, and really a lot more than they're admitting to themselves. There are people who don't buy cigarettes who are very addicted smokers. The most common group like that are smoking spouses. You have someone who is a very heavy smoker, and then you have like a husband or a wife who doesn't smoke, or that's how they say it, they don't smoke, but they bum cigarettes from the heavy smoking spouse only because they're around. They don't need to smoke. It's not like they have an addiction or nothing. They're just around, so they smoke with them. Well, often what will happen is the heavy smoking spouse will have a medical incident that requires them to stop smoking. They're in trouble. And even the bumming cigarette spouse realizes, oh my gosh, their spouse is in trouble. They're going to die if they don't quit. And they'll make this really gallant gesture to the heavy smoking spouse and say, well, if you quit, I'll quit too. And they'll believe that it won't be a problem. They just smoke because the other person smokes. Well, the other person now really does quit smoking. They're scared. They realize they have to do it. The person, the spouse, who thought that they could control it, who didn't need it, who were just doing it because they were around, they'll often find themselves buying their first pack in their life because they'll find out they weren't just smoking them because they were around. They were addicted smokers who were smoking them because they were around. And when they weren't around, they had to go buy them. Now, there's another case of a group of people who are actually more interesting to me. And they actually used to be a lot more than there are now. And it's harder to find this circumstance now because there aren't as many smokers left around them. But there were people who never bought a pack of cigarettes for themselves in their lives. What they would do was they'd bum cigarettes from everyone they would know. They'd have all these smoking friends and all these smoking co-workers, and they would just bum them every time they would see them. Now, you would think that, oh no, that you can't do that because the smokers around them are going to get really annoyed. It's like they're having to give up cigarettes all the time, and that's expensive, and how can you do that? Well, this is where the creative aspect comes in. Some of these people who were the ones who were saying, oh, they weren't buying themselves cigarettes, they were sometimes buying their friends' cigarettes. When they'd buy them packs at times, they'd buy them cartons at time. They were just saying, "Oh, this is a gift," and here, enjoy them. And now they'd be bumming back some of those cigarettes. Now, this was a great deal for the regular smoker here because they're getting lots of cigarettes. They're getting lots of free cigarettes, and they're only having to cough up a few here and there for their smoking friend who's going to bum them back from them. But this is the kind of mind game that these people were playing. As long as they weren't buying themselves cigarettes, they weren't really addicted. So they buy cigarettes for other people so they can bum them back. But now they still aren't addicted because they weren't buying them from themselves. They were maybe spending multiples of what they would be spending if they buy their own cigarettes just to keep this little mind game going, either with the other individual or, again, more sadly, to themselves, trying to convince themselves they didn't have an addiction that they had. How you get the cigarettes are not determining whether you're an addict or not. It's if you're smoking a cigarette. That's what's showing you have a problem. If you don't want to be a smoker, don't play these mind games. All you need to do to not be a smoker is to not smoke. And if you have been a smoker for a long time and think you can't get off it because you have been smoking for so long, no, you can. All you need to do to now become a former smoker is finally just make and now stick to a personal commitment to never take another puff.